My name's Kitty Bird, and I volunteer for Small Miracles. I started volunteering last year. There was a flyer that had come to my work, and I read what it was about, and it's always been important to me for children to be offered good food and proper nutrition. I have 2 boys of my own, and I've always made them breakfast and lunch, and just always, so they've always been able to have good food. And so when I saw the flyer, I was like, yes, I will absolutely help so that we can have children all over the valley be able to have the same opportunity. I decided to help out with Small Miracles because it is very important for me to know that children all over our community are offered good food and proper nutrition. If they can't find it at home, they can find it through Small Miracles. I feel it's important to feed kids lunch in the summer because it is important for them to be offered good food and proper nutrition, and the schools offer it during the year, and during the summer, Small Miracles offers that for them. There was a girl who was 17, and she was actually a babysitter for 2 of the kids that came also. And at the stations, they have what's called share bins. So if a kid doesn't like or is allergic to certain food, you can throw it in the share bin, and then any other child can come and take from it. And her and the 2, she had I think she was about 15, the girl was, and then the boy was younger. And there was a lot of broccoli and cucumbers, and she loved the cucumbers, and she would take all the vegetables and she would eat them. And I thought that's why, you come so that they can get the food and the proper nutrition that they need. And it was offered to them. But I would say honestly, every time a kid came to my line, it showed me that it mattered. Every child that got fed that day, it mattered. If somebody was considering volunteering or making a contribution, I couldn't urge them more. If you don't have the time, you can always donate. If you don't have the money, you can always spend the time. Honestly, I remember as a child people going out of their way and doing things for me or my family that they didn't have to. And I remember that. But what I didn't really realize is that all those times, they actually mold you. And so you grow up, and whether you stay in your community or you move out to a different community, you remember how good it felt and all of those times. And so when you're an adult and you have an opportunity to pass it forward to help somebody else, you do it because you remember how good it felt. And you honestly, you don't know how far in distance or in time in the world your one kind, generous moment will last. So I couldn't urge you more, because that's exactly what Linda and her team at Small Miracles, those are the opportunities that they offer. One more thing I'd like to say is thank you to Linda and her team at Small Miracles, because they have given me the opportunity to meet children and to hear about their summers, to hear about the things that they get to do while they eat their lunch. I strongly urge you to help out in any way you can.
My name is Mari Foreman Groff, and I started serving at Small Miracles just this last summer. I got an email from a friend last summer telling me about Small Miracles. I'd actually not heard of it before this, and she described it as a group of folks that was giving out free lunches at Lincoln Park. The location immediately caught my attention. Lincoln Park is my neck of the woods, so I was interested. But the biggest factor that made me sign up was when I learned that I could hand out the lunches with my children. I've got 5 kiddos at home, and so the idea of serving in my neighborhood with my kids was exciting. When you look at the numbers, it's pretty overwhelming. If you look at Wenatchee, East Wenatchee, Kashmir combined, you've got over 8,000 kiddos here that are on free or reduced lunches during the school year. So the reality is those kids are at risk of not getting enough food in the summertime. So on the one hand, there is a real physical need that Small Miracles is trying to meet. What I didn't anticipate before serving, what I really just was naive to, is the reality that many of these same kids are in homes where parents are working hard, maybe multiple jobs, and they may not be home that much. During the school year, these kiddos have school providing food, but also some structure, adult guidance that in the summertime may disappear for these kids. So when they come, we are offering them healthy food, but I think Small Miracles is doing something bigger too. I think they're offering a place, a safe place, a predictable place where kids can come, where adults are present, letting kids just be kids. We're there to serve them food, yes, but we're also there to chat, to listen, to play.
What one story stands out for you from last summer in your mind that tells the story of why the summer food program matters?
The first thing I thought of was really my first day. I remember pulling up at the kitchen with an empty trunk, not sure what to expect. First of all, I was very impressed at how well run everything was. It was so orderly and so fast. It was easy to identify the coolers that were to go in my car, headed to Lincoln Park here, or where we are. This is where I served. Within a matter of minutes, I had my previously empty trunk full of a cooler of chocolate milks, a cooler of healthy bagged lunches, a hand washing station, and the free lunch flag. And just like that, I was off. Another volunteer met me here at Lincoln, and we quickly unloaded. And by noon, which is the time that we are to start serving, children were starting to arrive. So first of all, it was smooth and easy. But then the fun began, because when the kids started arriving, I wasn't sure who to expect or how many to expect. And it was exciting to me that there is a huge age range of kids that come. I suppose the bulk, at least at this particular location, were elementary years. There were some very young children though, some preschoolers, some even toddlers, and there were teens. So we had a variety of conversations. The conversations I had with teenagers, a couple that stood out, we got to talk about their coursework, their college dreams, what my husband and I do for a living and what they dream of doing. Versus the little kids, they want to blow bubbles and play tag. But back to that first day, I was impressed by the different ages that were coming. I was impressed at how appreciative they were, how orderly it all was. We asked them to wash their hands before they're served a meal. Everyone's so happy to do that. They sit here. They're encouraged to stay here, so there's a community piece. Everyone's so happy to do that. Another piece that surprised me very much that first day is that while some kids come with a parent or a guardian, many don't. And some quite young kids came, and I wasn't sure how they got there. They walked, of course, but that really impressed on me that Small Miracles is doing something important.
What would you tell somebody who is looking or thinking about making a donation or considering volunteering with Small Miracles?
The easiest thing to do in the beginning, if you're unsure of the type of commitment you want to make to Small Miracles, is to sign up for Linda Belton's emails. She's the executive director, the founder. She's a great communicator, and every week during the summer she'll send out an email. And so by doing that, you'll start educating yourself as to what Small Miracles is actually doing, where lunches are being served and how many. But it also gives you a really easy opportunity to fill in a vacant spot for that week, because every week Linda will say, we've got all of this covered, but we've got a hole here at Mattel Park on Wednesday, or maybe it's Eastmont on Tuesday. So once you're on that list, you can be in the loop, and maybe one Sunday evening you realize, well, I could do Tuesday this week. That would work for me, and you could fill that gap, make a one-time commitment, and then you'll see. That's how I started. I did it a couple of times, and after you get to participate, it's not hard to want to make a regular commitment. You see that it's about an hour of time. It's just not a lot of time that you're giving, but the opportunity you're being given. Here, it makes me feel a little bit like Santa Claus. I'm being handed healthy food that I didn't have to buy, that I didn't have to prepare. I get to show up and give it to appreciative kids. It's a really fun thing to do.